Being German, it's exactly the right time. Okay, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. I was asked to moderate this panel tonight as kind of last-minute decision, and I'm happy to do so, provided that my voice will stay okay and that I won't crash like I did a billion times over the past few days. And finally, I hope that you will see me okay and that I'm not floating about with no clothes on. I confirm that I was dressed when I came online here. Okay, somehow I think that everybody knows Heike around here, Heike Vwbpe, but let me give her a proper introduction and say Heike Vwbpe is CEO of Let's Talk Online, and a technology support provider for language learning and events in real time. She is co-initiator of EU-funded Lancelot Virtual Classroom and Avalon Virtual World, and the newly granted Camelot project, Machinevo for Language Teachers, and she's founder of the Virtual Roundtable Conference and co-owns EduNation and Second Life. Heike actually is the power and driving person each year to get the Machinevo workshop up and running, and last not least initiated the newly granted Camelot project, which was designed to produce and implement Machinevo for language teachers, and has also been a group leader of the Machinevo production group at the Machinevo 2014 workshop, and she'll be talking about that later. The Machinematographers on the panel have all been involved in one or more of the 5 weeks Machinevo workshops in the past 3 years, either as moderators, we had 15 moderators this year, or as participants in the workshops. And the last Machinevo workshop I'm referring to took place from the 12th of January 2014 to the 16th of February 2014 this year. Did I say 15? 14, of course. It was somehow different from previous workshops, as we had invited people who were new to Second Life and who got extra tuition in a so-called fast track during the first week, learning basic skills of moving in Second Life, etc., whereas the advanced group got started producing scripts for Machinimas. And both groups mingled in the second week and built 4 main production groups, and one I just mentioned Heike as the leader of. And each group produced at least one or more Machinima, and on the panel we have moderators from different working groups who will be able to give you some insight to their work. But before I start with our panelists, and I would like to thank those colleagues who are not on the panel but have given tremendous amount of input, and of course to all the participants who made our work successful. A special mention goes to Carol Rainbow, a star with regards to creation and instruction of Machinima, staying modestly in the background here, I think, and Hazel Dazel, a great Machinemagrapher and advisor for special effects, and of course Barbara McQueen, known as Barbara Novelli in Second Life, the queen of Machinima instructions. Yeah, and now I'm happy to welcome our panelists who are here actually on the panel, and after a short introduction I would like each panelist to share why they got involved with Machinima and what their personal interest is. So starting with Jens. Jens, you managed this year's Machinevo workshop, and I know it was a tremendous lot of work involved, and you did a fabulous job indeed. So Jens, I should introduce you, Jens. He's a Danish teacher, a Bachelor of Education, and he has been in the teaching profession for more than 20 years, teaching ESL and ICT and filmmaking. And currently he works as a web portal editor for the Danish Edu department UNIC. And in 2011 he took part in the EU Avatar project with his class and colleagues. And after the Avatar project, he stayed on in Second Life Networking at Unation. Well, I assume that he transferred his love for filmmaking in real life to machinima making and Second Life. But Jens, you could tell us more about it, about your background and about the background to Machinevo 2014 and the toolbox. The floor is yours, Jens.
Thank you very much, Crystal. Lady, thank you very much for your introduction. Yes, we're going to see a few slides here because I'm going to tell you something about the administration and how the Machinevo 2014, how it went. And later I will come in to tell you more about my my gift box. You can see the gift box and you can already take it. I will later describe what's inside. You cannot raise it here. But well, we all moderators, we had a pre-training where we discussed which kind of which kind of platform we should use, and this were the third time we did Machinevo. I myself took part at the first course or the first session for about 3 years ago. I was myself a group leader or became a group leader, and that was a great experience for me. This year here we used an ink last year for sharing things for the course, but this time here we used Google Community, and well, I actually would have loved to make Machinima, but I didn't manage to do that because of administration. And it's important when one do a course like this that that there is a strong administration to take care of all the practical things. And we preferred Google Community because there was a calendar there. We had problem with the name last year, and we went over to Facebook, but Facebook, you know, things disappear there. It's difficult to search, but in Google Community you have different kind of categories, so we used that. And of course we had a tremendous big intake of people, about 200 people, and that's quite about the double number compared with last year, and that was a new situation. So it was very much like a MOOC-like course coming up, and it was nice that we had different kind of categories. Could we have the next slide here, because I'm just talking about the general background to our course. Heike, maybe you could turn here. Well, it's, you know, what is Machinima? Yeah, that's filming and making films in a virtual environment, in my words. And well, we changed. That was the logo from last year. We had a different one this year here, but it was taking all my time. I'm working like a freelance in real life for the Danish Education Department, and so I have some deadlines. And actually, I would have loved to make Machinima in a group like the rest of the moderators, but I saw there was a need for taking care of that administration, because I mean, that's important. I mean, you know, when you run a course in real life, there's also a lot of administration and taking care, sending mails, and of course when we're doing it in a virtual environment, that's even a bigger challenge to take care of people. And this time here we had newbies also, so it was nearly a full-time job, believe it or not. Yes. We are part of the EVO, and that means the electronic village online, and that's what I mentioned before. We were trained there. They were providing us with resources and information how to become good moderators and get inspiration, and also new moderators could be trained there. So we are part of that electronic village rules and regulations. For instance, we are not allowed to call it a course, because when you have a course you have a special paper, but from my background in Denmark, a course is a course, but we call it sessions. So that's a very important point. Could we have the next one, Heike? The next slide, please. Yeah, we had some very good experience with guest speakers from all over the world. Well, just to mention, this year here we had Dragster. I mean, he's a famous Machinevo maker and a great inspiring person, and love to share and take his time. He's very busy with his new radio or podcast program. He took his time. This is from this slide here is from for a couple of years ago. That was the time when Vwbpe was very much in that change now. We had also had Chantal. Chantal is also a famous Machinevo maker, and we had my very good friend Bente Milton from Denmark. Maybe you know the film My Avatar and Me. She was a director there. It's about 4 or 5 years ago that film in real life was made. It was about the story about a man in real life who became so much involved in his business and doings in Second Life, so he lost his girlfriend in real life. It's a very interesting and very nice story about the life in Second Life. Yes. We had many more guest speakers. We had that about once a week, and I mean, just to say about the structure, I also had some sessions, you know, where I presented things, because I have a very good colleague, Barbara Novelli, which I've been working with for some years. She was actually in the group the first year started, so we carry on. And actually that brings me to one important point. Besides making Machinevo, and you learn a lot of things, the most important thing is networking, that you create some relationship to people who share the same passion for making films. This is a great thing, because we are across the globe. We are from California to Germany to UK to Denmark and so on, and it's like to South America also, of course, and so it's a kind of global family, and that's what I actually personally like most of all. That's the network where you can share things and also become a bit more personal. Actually, I went to California here for 2 years ago with my wife in real life, and we visited Barbara and Vinchel, and that was a fantastic meeting people you have been collaborating with for years, and then certainly you see them in real life. We were quite a lot of moderators this year here. I forgot, even there was about 14 or 15, and actually we were more because there were some who were group leaders, so there was a bit of confusion, because I regard us all as a kind of team. It's teamwork, this, and some are moderators, some are group leaders, so it's a bit confusing, but we will improve that to make it more clear. Yes, and of course it's 5 weeks, very intense for everybody. I mean, I mentioned I was more or less working full-time, but it was great. Also, we ended up with a film festival, like a red carpet event and things. Yes. And I could carry on here for some time. Let me see what's coming up. Here we have the award ceremony, and actually this year here the award ceremony were coming up to another conference. That was the kind of the first day of when some of the many conference in language teaching, I even forgot it, what the name of it, and well. it was very intense, and we want to share with you the best of our things tonight here or today. Some of the Machinevo which have been made, we're going to watch them, and remember the gift box later. I will tell you about that, because there's a lot of stuff. I mean, this is a question about sharing things here. For that we don't just keep it private and this kind of thing. We love to share. And one point is, we have, out of the 200 people, of course, when it's MOOC-like, it always happens. There's a lot of people who are just lurkers, who are looking and getting inspiration, and out of them, maybe, I guess we were maybe 20 to 30 more or less in the end. It was we could say a big dropout, but that's the normal standard in this way here. It was a bit, I mean, it's always a challenge to keep people interested and keep the platform going, the community, that things happen, that we answer. And that's what I call a very important thing, because we had to provide that kind of service. We cannot just say, okay, we start in our groups and we forget about people. We had to look after that. That's very important, doing courses in the virtual environments. Yes, I think that should be the last slide here for my part.
Would you mind telling them about the box now, perhaps?
Okay, yes. Yes, I have a link here. I will, because you cannot visit here, and I will put it in here in the chat to my Google document, so we can just look at the content of that. You buy the box for 0 Linden, and you can keep it in your inventory. But hope you know later we can talk if you have problems how to get the things in the box. But if you know that, let us have a look, and I will go through the content of the box. Yes. Before I just say something about the content, I've just put few other links here. Of course, you can see the whole syllabus. I hope you had opened the link now, so we can share it. I expect that. Okay. I put a link into the wiki where we have the syllabus with all the details, all the resources and things. And this is a very inspiring thing, I think, and also we use it as a kind of record for our doings. And every year, I mean, this is for the 3rd time, and it's improving all the time. And I have a link also put down to the film festival where you can see all the films. Yes. And then I myself, I love this kind of collecting resources, although I find the best things, materials, and I made a scoop called Machinevo Resources for Educators. There I collected many things I've been looking for and still collecting. And then I would very much recommend, if you want to do some recording, some Machinevo, there is this place called Machinevo Open Studio Project. It's special, like for Machinevo people who can film there. There are different stage, different resources, and you are allowed to film there. I mean, you don't have to. Well, you always write that you have been filming in that location, but we have no problems in filming there. And I put also a landmark there, so it's easy for you. And there's a link to the website. Okay, now my colleague, dear Barbara, which unfortunately couldn't take part here in this session here, she had, together with us, we collected material, all the stuff there, and there are different kind of tips, and at the same time we come from EduNation, most of us. There's a lot of holodecks there, which are very useful for filming. like a castle or a bus or chicken airport. There's a library. There's a slum city. There's a lot of holodecks at Detonation, and they are useful. I know also the other places there are holodecks, but this is what we had been using there, and there's something about filming software tools also, an overview, and then of course there is how to, and you can see down there the line there, how to capture screenshots, how to change dark screen, how to chat with other in-world, a lot of basic things, but it's always, you know, you can always be rusty if you don't use all the facilities all the way. How to friend people, how to gesture, how to landmark a place, how to log in, how to look through walls. That's a quite funny one. One say, why should I use that? Okay, but we have collected a lot of note cards there. You can see and use in the gift box. So that was my contribution
Jens,
here.
Can I ask you to make this link, the Google Docs links that you shared earlier, to make that Google Docs public, because I cannot seem to access it. And the gift box is definitely for everyone to click on, take a copy, because it holds all the treasures, all the know-how that Barbara especially has collated throughout the third year now of Machinevo, with not only holds a lot of landmarks but also note cards on how to, amazing amount of note cards, as well as objects, etc. It's amazing.
Sorry, I have one comment. Couldn't you open that Google document?
No, I could not open it either, and I think I think everybody can have a look at all the goodies, and if there are any questions, they can come back to us, to either Jens or Heike or me or Barbara. Will that be okay? Because I think it is difficult now for people not to be able to watch it, but that, you know, it might not be everything interesting for everyone, but there are a few things in there that are interesting for everybody. So, you know,
I will check the Google document and just write it in the chat. Sorry about that.
Mm-hmm. No worries. Okay, so should we come to an end with your presentation, Jens, or is there anything you would like still like to share here?
I will come in later. Thanks.
Is that okay? Okay, Jens. Thank you very much. Yep. And is there anything you would like to add, Heike, or can we go on to
just want to add the well, when we had the Machinevo award ceremony, the last 3 years actually, this year especially, there has been an award added to this, and Machinevo basically awarded the most of the technical competences of creating machinima. That means we had the best special effects, or the best sound effects, or the best film editing, the best informative machinima, the best informative, like intercultural machinima. So all of the criteria about machinima with Camelot, that was an initiative of the Camelot EU-funded project, which started in December. Camelot wanted to award lesson plans. That means if a teacher uses the machinima in class, and this could be a face-to-face situation in a real classroom where the students are locally present, or that could have been in an online setting, even teaching in Second Life, or it could have been even like just using machinima as a standalone language learning video, yeah. And in these cases, we kind of asked the language teachers Could you let us know what you think the kind of target group of language levels that would be, what language level, in which setting would you use the video, and that in itself, quite a number of lesson plans were handed in, and I'm very proud to say that the top three, the gold, silver, and bronze award went to Anne, Project 1, Crystal Schneider as the bronze, and Carol Rainbow got the silver award. And so that's just what I wanted to mention. And you'll find more information on the website, including the lesson plans, which I think is of great interest to some of us language teachers. How do you actually use these videos in class? With that, I'm passing back to Crystal.
Yeah, thank you, Heike. And meanwhile, I saw that people here have put in the chat where they come from, and that that backs up what Jens said, how important the networking is, and what a fantastic group of people are here, to network with all over the world, and that's fantastic. I would like to go on and introduce Shelvin Corrigan, known as Winshaw here, English Easily in Second Life. Shelvin has a master's in linguistics, a master's in digital media and learning, certification in multimedia studies. She has worked in digital design since 1994. She's done so many things. I don't think the evening is long enough to mention it all. Well, she has taught in ESL and EFL in Europe, South America, and universities in California and New York, and her interests are in teaching pronunciation, academic oral skills, and the integration of new media in the classroom. She's working on machinima development for language learners and teachers, and she's a media consultant and web designer, and has taught ESL at the University of San Francisco since 2001. She also works in Second Life as a teacher, and Shelvin teaches graduate courses in the Digital Media and Learning program, and is currently devoting most of her time to course development for the new online MA TESOL program at the University in California. And well, during the last Machinevo workshop, Winshaw was around all the time and helped the new learning groups produce a lot of specific aids with posters and learning tools. And Winshaw, from your observation during the Machinevo, what were the most important lessons learned, and what are your specific interests in making machinima and in machinima? The floor is yours, Winshaw.
Hello everyone. Thank you, Letty. My biggest takeaway this year, I gained enough courage to finally put my students in my machinimas. That was huge. As Crystal or Letty mentioned, I teach at the University of San Francisco in California. I teach online courses in digital literacy in 2 different graduate programs. In addition, I teach in the real-world ESL program at the university. And I've been using Second Life in all of my classes for a while now. And I first became interested in machinima when I saw the production of the students from Global Kids Youth Leader on human trafficking. It was amazing. A light switch went on for me, and I've never been the same. Then I found Machinevo 3 years ago and fell in love. Talk about needles in haystacks. It's amazing we all found each other on this planet. Many of us from the Machinevo conference bonded that year, and we didn't want to part. So we've been together ever since on Education Island. Soon after that first Machinevo, Heike took me over to a company called LanguageLab.com, because they were hiring teachers, and I really wanted to know what that experience was like. It was there I met my current business partners. So when Language Lab changed their business model and kicked the teachers and the students to the curb, we decided to open our own language school, Learn It Town. We were a small group of women who wanted to remain together, but most of all, we wanted to honor the subscriptions of our loyal students who were absolutely heartbroken. So that's really how our school began, and we've been open for over a year, and now we're getting involved in project-based learning and Machinevo. We're finding that students become more invested in their own linguistic improvement when they are involved in a project that results in a Machinevo. In Learn It Town, we're developing several projects. We've done poetry reading, reading of song lyrics, plays, movie dialogues, and short stories to improve pronunciation. The students become actors rather than consumers of information, which is critical to the development of oracy. The projects can range anywhere from 1 day to 3 days up to a few weeks, depending on the activity. We're currently working on the life story of Cesar Chavez and the formation of the United Farm Workers Union in California. Many students don't know that he's one of our American heroes. Another project that students loved was a talent show. It was a wonderful community activity. The students and teachers were totally engaged, and the final product was so successful. We'd like to do this on a regular basis because it was so much fun. Finally, one more example of a project I loved was 2 Learn It Town teachers put together a clown school that was brilliant. We had a group of Mexican graduate students who needed to understand American university matriculation. There was a lot of boring documentation to go through, so the teachers prepared a presentation with activities and changed the entire context to Clown University, and it all took place in a circus tent. The students got all of the critical information they needed, but it was hilarious. They learned that a prerequisite to unicycling was juggling, so they were all learning to ride unicycles and juggle. They learned that only the best students were accepted into the honors program, and they had to be expert at sculpting balloon animals. And the students learned they would lose their clown noses if their grades fell and they were placed on academic probation. It was all so well done that the students totally enjoyed it, and there was so much laughter and joy. I just loved the gaming aspect of this topic. How interesting to take something so very boring and to make a game out of it. It was really fun. Before I let you watch a Machinevo, I want you to think about 2 things. Remember, we are teachers and not filmmakers. Therefore, we should embrace our imperfections. Keep projects small and easy to accomplish. We must try not to become overwhelmed by these projects. A short finished project is better than a masterpiece that never gets finished. We want this to become a natural part of our materials development process. Just know that you will improve in time. Okay, now I will let you watch a Machinevo that was a product of a 3-day project with Learn It Town students. The activity was designed to focus on improving pronunciation, and the students really felt they were on a movie set, and it was very exciting for them. And when they saw the finished project, they were over the moon. So it really makes a difference to students when the outcome of a project is going to result in a Machinevo. They pay much more attention to their work, and they're much more fastidious. So I'm putting the link in chat, and enjoy. Let me know if you have any questions.
I'm coming home, I'm coming home. Tell the world I'm coming home. Let the rain wash away all the pain of yesterday. I know my kingdom awaits, and they've forgiven my mistakes. I'm coming home, I'm coming home. Tell the world I'm coming.
and the blood will dry underneath my nails.
And the wind will rise up to fill my sails.
So you can doubt and you can hate.
But I know no matter what it takes.
I'm coming home, I'm coming home. Tell the world I'm coming home.
Let the rain wash away
all the pain of yesterday.
I know my kingdom awaits.
and they've forgiven my mistakes.
I'm coming home. I am coming home. Tell the world I'm coming home.
Still far away from where I belong.
But it's always darkest before the dawn.
So you can doubt and you can hate.
Or no matter what it takes.
I'm coming home. I'm coming home. Tell the world I'm coming home.
Let the rain wash away
all the pain of yesterday.
I know my kingdom awaits.
And they've forgiven my mistakes.
I'm coming home. I'm coming home. Tell the world I'm coming home.
Let the rain wash away
all the pain of yesterday.
I know my kingdom awaits.
And they've forgiven my mistakes.
I'm coming home. I'm coming home. Tell the world I'm coming home.
I'm coming home, I'm coming home. Tell the world I'm coming home. Let the rain wash away all the pain of yesterday. I know my kingdom awaits, and they've forgiven my mistakes. I'm coming home, I'm coming home. Tell the world I'm coming.
Well, thank you, Winchell. As Rosa Violetta writes here, this is powerful, or sorry, it was E.M. Black, and yeah, and I think what Cyber wrote here, that she can really feel the confidence building during the video, and I can only back that. And yeah, I mean, well, this is one thing you showed us, but I know you have produced many more videos with your students, and I would love to see them all, but we can only show one here tonight. So thank you for your... Yeah, thank you, Winchell. So that was really very powerful. And could we move on, or are there any questions? Okay, so I would like to go on to our next panelist, and that is Edith Palliot, known as Cyber Placebo. Some of you might have seen Cyber around here at the conference and listened to her presentations. Cyber is a language technology specialist at Victoria University of Wellington, and she provides call solutions and computer training sessions for in-service language lecturers and teachers, and she teaches a short introductory call course to pre-service teachers at secondary level. Now, Cyber's specific area in Machinima is digital storytelling, and Cyber has proven her excellent skills of conducting and producing an excellent Machinima as a result of the last Machinevo workshop, which was the absolute hit and won all the prizes and awards that were out there. Well, would you like to tell us about your secret of being so successful with your Machinima, and what fascinates you personally about Machinima, Cyber?
Yes, thank you, Letty. Well, I mean, I am not the only maker of this video. I mean, all Group 1, I was in charge of Group 1, and the Group 1 was interested in doing narrative, video involving narrative using Second Life. So it's not my doing, it's the work of everyone within Group 1, and everyone had a shot at taking movies, at being an actor, and I hope that later on we'll be able to see them in action. I created a little making fun of Group 1 movie, which really shows the difficulties of making a movie when you're a beginner, and also just as an actor within Second Life. So I mean, yes, I've always been interested in making movies, and Second Life has really unleashed that. However, I was a little bit experienced as well with camera techniques, using Camtasia, and video editing more to the point, not camera techniques. I learned that within Machinevo with all the group here while making my first video with Group 1. Yes, and I did, I mean, my movie editing experience comes from creating learning objects to teach information literacy to our students in our university, and basically how to use the library catalog. But I've also assisted the sign language program with creating their course materials. So yes, I was a little bit of a movie editor before that, but it was a real learning curve this year when I joined the Machinevo group, and did that movie with the Born to be a Musician movie with Group 1. I was kind of became the leader of the group, but I believe that everyone came up with plenty of fantastic ideas, and we basically improvised on the spot. But it was a fantastic experience. For the future, and why I followed the Machinevo is because I'm interested in getting the students to do digital storytelling, as you said before, Letty. And what I'm interested mainly is to engage students in creating stories using the 3D environments. So with my knowledge, my technical knowledge of making movies, I can assist them in creating those videos. My background is a teacher of French as a foreign language, so I've got a little bit of pedagogy behind as well as to how to direct the students. But the interesting part of making a movie and using Second Life is of course to be able to use the target language in all aspects of it. So everything would be taught in the language. Making the movie would be part of learning the language. Making the story would be part of learning the language, and of course, well, the whole package comes in the target language. Ideally, I mean, I have done some captures, a little machinimas, but I mean, they're not technically particularly interesting, but they are showcasing what the students are doing in World for Language Learning. And what I would like to get started with, because it's quite a challenge to teach all that, all that package. What I would like to do is getting at least the students to make some pictures and use those pictures, a sequence of pictures to take to create that story, and then maybe use Animoto, for example, just to do a voice recording of the story using those pictures, and so that would be a good start to see how the students like it, whether the students like it, or whether they're emotionally engaged with that. And then if it works, if they seem to be engaged, then we may, come to the point where we actually create a movie. And to finish on that, ideally what I would like is to involve a cross-curricular project within my university with film and theater studies, where students of film and theater studies could help the students in language learning with their storyboarding, how they could focus on camera techniques and editing, and we could also involve computer science students and architecture and design to create little environments that are culturally based, culturally charged or loaded with the elements, the cultural elements that the students, the language or the cultures that the students are learning. So, for example, it would be Spanish or Latin American culture, and architecture design could maybe build a holodeck, for example, or part of a holodeck, where the language students would make their movie. So, I've got plenty of ideas, but whether they are viable or not, well, that's all to remain to be seen. So that's it for my bio and my ideas. I'm not sure, Heike, whether you would want to maybe display one. Yes, well, yeah, the thing is I'm in New Zealand, Letty. But
yeah.
That's the problem.
EU project, yeah, okay. But I think there are always, it's going, Europe is going global, so I think there are possibilities. Yeah, but Heike, which of the videos would you like to, or I mean, not Heike, Cyber, which video would you like to share? Which of the loads of videos?
Yes.
I mean.
Yeah, I think that we'll get. The thing is, what we did with Group 1 was that we shared, video footage with Dropbox, and the screen, the script, and the ideas, everything about the movie itself were shared on Google Docs, and so everyone's captures are included in the videos we will see, and at the end, when we captured most, except for the last scene in the cathedral, when we had collated all the video footage of the different areas where we filmed, I asked the participant to create their own version, so we would have an interesting mix of outcomes. So I guess that Anne's version would be a good start, and if people are not too bored with watching videos, then we could maybe look at the last in the cathedral, and the making of as well, the making fun of. So you'll get an idea after seeing the two videos. You can see the background of the movie making, if that's okay with everyone.
Okay, let's start with Anne's version then. Can you put the link in there, Heike?
Okay,
yeah, thank you.
A second. Yeah, Heike.
Heike has put the link in there. Thank you, Heike. So let's watch it.
So it's a 6 minute.
6 minutes and somewhat, yeah.
It all began on a winter morning. The first thing I remember, I was in my parents' house. I woke up, wondering where I was. I sat up for a while. I was all alone. Then I looked up at the clock on the wall. It was foggy and cold outside, but I saw a shadow on the snow-covered lawn, so I went outside to see what was there. And amazing, there was a grand piano. It was calling to me. I walked around it, then slowly sat down on the piano stool. I had never played the piano before, but the piano was helping me, and I was so very, very happy. Suddenly a strange lady appeared next to the piano. She floated over it. She was singing and humming. I wasn't afraid. She looked friendly, and she was smiling. She told me that I played the piano well, and asked me if I knew the tune she was singing. I did, and magically I was able to play it. It gave me such a feeling of joy and power. After that, like magic, I was suddenly 15. I was still playing the piano, but this time I was under the sea. Suddenly, two beautiful mermaids appeared. I had never seen a mermaid before, and I was amazed. They were singing beautifully and invited me to dance. I didn't know what to do. Should I dance with them, or should I keep playing the piano? I was tired of practicing for so many hours each day and was about to stop playing forever, but playing in this enchanted place was different. I felt so good and calm. One of the mermaids began to speak, and she explained that I had a choice. I could work hard and become a wonderful pianist, or I could play games all day long and waste my life. I played quietly for a long time, thinking as I played. Finally, I was so tired that I fell asleep in the seaweed. Later on, I woke in a dark, sad place. I felt angry. I saw a man painting something on a wall in a run-down alleyway. The piano was in the middle of the road, but I didn't want to play it. I was curious. I wanted to live a life where I did not have to practice the piano for 8 hours every day. I talked to the man who was painting the wall. He was friendly and gave me some beer. It was good, and it made me forget my anger. I drank a lot, too much, and then, I felt so depressed and with a bad headache. And then I was in the trash bin. Just as I was about to decide to quit music forever, whoosh, a fairy appeared and talked to my friend. And then she came to me and said, "Do not give up. I will help you. Do not give up." Next I was 25, and I was with the fairy in a gypsy camp. The sky was dark and misty. The fairy walked over to a gypsy in a red dress, and I followed. Then the gypsy invited me into her tent. She told my fortune. I couldn't believe it. She said I was going to be very, very happy. After that, the fairy and the gypsy were dancing, while I was playing the piano and another gypsy was playing the violin. Several years later, I was much older and I was playing somewhere else. It was neither under the sea nor in the gypsy camp. I was in Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris. Also, I was playing something even more wonderful than a piano. I was playing a great church organ. This was beyond my biggest dreams, even more amazing than what the gypsy had told me. I was playing, and many people were listening with great pleasure. The old gypsy lady had been correct. I was born to play.
This is one of the videos you don't want to stop. You want to have it go on and on and on. It was really fantastic. Yes. Thank you very much. Cyber, can you post the other 2 links, if possible, in the chat? We won't look at them now because time is kind of precious and running, and I would like to go to carry on with our next panelist, if that is okay with you. Or is there anything, Heike, you would like to add, or anyone else?
No, I think we can continue.
Okay, so I've got somebody here as the next person on my list on the panel, but the person is not sitting here on the panel. So that is Almut Brunswick, Dr. Andreas Lienhardt in real life. She's sitting in the audience, I think. And Almut has been, would you like to come to the front, Almut? So next to Heiko or somebody? Or I can stand and you can sit where I'm sitting. Is that okay for you? So, look, all the ladies making place for you, Almut. Isn't that nice? Here we go.
I think I will join your side and Jens' side, so I can tickle him a little bit in between.
You tickle Jens? My God. It's
yes.
Worse and worse.
It's a very old love. Because I was in his group 2 years ago, and so this is a very old connection.
So you're on tickle terms, okay.
In tickle terms.
Okay,
so yes.
So Almut has participated on the first Machinevo workshop in 2012 with Jens Nerido's group and was a moderator at Machinevo 2014. Almut is maintaining a tutorial website for Blender and other tools. Maybe you can put your website in the chat, Almut. And in real life, Almut studied fine arts, history, pedagogics, and political science, and holds a PhD in history. So that's a really interesting mix. So Almut is working as a technical writer and illustrator in the field of railway signaling technology in Germany. Almut, you run one of the 4 production groups at this year's Machinevo workshop, which I believe was quite challenging, quite a challenging adventure. Would you like to share your experience working in a very heterogeneous group and creating an amazing collaborative product with such a diverse group?
Yes, I was thinking about how to manage this in a way which is quite entertaining, and I think I will use an analogy to talk about it. We all know this kind of movie. You have boarded an airplane, but suddenly you become aware that the pilots are not in the cockpit. In fact, they aren't aboard of the plane at all. The plane, however, is already flying high in the skies, so you need to take control with the help of some other brave passengers, in this case my co-learners from all over the world. After you have eventually landed the planet, not elegant, but at least safely, you see yourself and your mates in a contest for the best landing, and of course you just get a consolation prize. So this was, in short, the story. Okay, to make it more explicit, we were in fact quite surprisingly in a group named Content, and we heard earlier that there were some skilled and professional moderators assigned to help the groups for their first experiences in making machinimas, and so this was my idea as well. I started not making machinimas, I'm modest, learning to know what machinima making means in Jens' group 2 years ago, and after a break in 2013 I decided to recommence my own newbie efforts to learn more about it. So I came to the Machinima workshop and came to this group, and then it turned out that we had something in common, and this is that we were all newbies, more or less, but no, we were newbies, not experienced ones, with one exception, and this is Alfonso. Alfonso, however, was quite involved in his own sequence of the Familia Gomez videos, so he was helping as good as he could do it, but he was working in parallel on his own videos, so we were on our own. So in this situation I, as to say, took controls. I started proposing a way how to manage the situation, how to start working together, and luckily I had a hardcore of other learners from all over the world, at least from three continents, with very different backgrounds and very different professions. So we were not in the situation to have, for instance, a bunch of language teachers together in order to make something for learning languages. We had very, very heterogeneous learners in this group, but it didn't matter. It just made us thinking about a design for learning which made it possible to gain our first experiences, and eventually after the 5 weeks or 4 weeks, in fact, to present something which doesn't make us blushing when it is presented to an audience. So we were mainly focused on just this craftsmanship of making machinimas, rather than thinking about pedagogic or didactic details, how to tell things, how to bring across content. Of course there is narration involved, because making machinimas, as making every kind of movie, is different from just writing, for instance, texts. So we were trying out a lot of ways and experiences and discovering different things of arguing with the means of machinima. So in the very end we had a modular movie which has a clamp around a frame made up of a class of students, of Spanish talking students, so this is an evidence that Alfonso was involved, and these students are starting their travel through virtual worlds, and eventually in the last sequence, and I will post you the link, the direct link to the last 4 minutes of this collaborative video, they are returning to their home or their starting point with all the new experiences and discoveries in their mind, and the message of this movie is that virtual worlds are a great place not only for pleasure but for learning and to push your own boundaries forward. And this is, as to say, the compromise we had to make, but I think it was a good compromise under the given conditions for us. So feel free to watch the entire movie afterwards, but it has 12 minutes. And as I already said, some episodes. This was something we had in mind because we were not sure what we can realize in the given time. So better to leave out something in between than to endanger the narration of the entire one.
Virtual worlds are really great. You can do whatever you like. I know. Why don't we go on a tour? Yay!
Sí, sí, vamos.
Ok, yo los acompaño, niños.
No, 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 no.
Ok, niños, suban al autobús.
Well, it's a virtual world, so let's transform into adults. Oh, it looks like we're adults now, so let's go.
Yes, let's go. Vamos.
Of course, feel free to skip the credits at the end. So the entire one is sort of a road movie through Second Life, just to give people from outside, outworld, or from real life, an expression what virtual worlds actually are, with some ironic moments. For instance, the sequence about the shoe shaping, but also about the, as to say, praising the beauty of the virtual landscapes. And this is what was our common compromise, because we came from so different approaches and we have so different ideas for which we could use Machinevo for educational purposes, that it made sense to come to such a common general message in this movie. And again, we were mainly focused just on learning the very first skills, because we were new to the screen capturing, or almost new at least, and to editing it with Camtasia, and I just learned my first things in Camtasia during these 5 weeks, so it was quite fruitful. But of course, we couldn't compete at all with people with some more prerequisites. So from this point of view, I was not really pleased, and I was not fond about this competition situation at the very end of the workshop, and I instantly hope that this concept should be revised and hopefully abandoned for the next year, because it doesn't make sense when you are a starter.
Thank you, Almut, and I think your prayers have been heard. So, I think you're right about this kind of concept, but it worked, I think, in the past years. This year was different, as mentioned before, totally different from the setting up the groups and so on, as you mentioned. Okay, so thank you for sharing, parts of this, sharing your insight and parts of your brilliant film. And it's, as I said before, it's really worth watching the whole scenario, because I started at the beginning when you started, and towards the end, just by watching it, and I thought, yeah, there are so great scenes with the kids on the bus and all that. Okay. Anything else you would like to ask Almut, or any questions? Any comments? If not, I would like to carry on, and the next panelist I have got on my list is Dr. Doris Molero, Pioneer Destiny, as she's called in Second Life. Doris is an EFL professor from Rafael Beloso Chaquin University in Maracaibo in Venezuela, and she's a doctor in science of education specializing in curriculum and instruction. And her doctoral research was based on the use of Web 2.0 tools as multiliterate agents in the EFL class at university level. She holds a master degree on education informatics and graduated from Modern Language School at Universidad del Zulia, and she has, was that wrong? Sorry. She taught, that was my attempt to sound foreign. Anyway, she taught English as foreign language to high school and adult learners for 23 years. So she's been a proud Webhead since 2002 and a presenter and volunteer at the Virtual World of Best Practice in Education for a number of years. And she is a Machinevo member, and she is an organizer at the SL MOOC 2014, a blended experience of the use of virtual worlds for educators. Yeah, Doris, as I said, was involved in the previous Machinevo workshops as a moderator, and she is really passionate about machinima. So how did you get involved in machinima, and what is your personal interest, Doris? Would you like to share that with us?
Hello everyone. I don't know if I'm coming through. Is my voice okay?
Sounds great.
Okay.
Your voice is okay?
So, okay. Answering the question that what is my interest in machinima? Well, it is about integrating virtual worlds in the real life class. I don't teach online all the time. I teach at a university, and my students want to be lawyers or engineers and accountants, and they don't have the time to spend time learning a new language. They learn the language because they have to. It's part of their, syllabus, but it's not what they want. So Machinevo is a fun way to bring movies into the classroom, and also is a fun way to teach them how to do something creative. My experience working with Machinevo has been, as has been said before, helping, moderating, and finding information. Since I live in Venezuela, it took me a long time to get to. I got to Second Life in 2007. I had to wait 2 years to get a good computer and a good internet connection to start coming to Second Life. And since I've been here, I had crashed several times. So you can see that I have a lot of technical problems, and that makes a difference. That scares a lot of educators. So. By staying here and working and participating in whatever I can, it's something that helps me to keep on trying on new things and bringing new ideas to my classes. The way you can use, the way I have used Machinima in my classes is the same way I use a video. So these Machinimas that have been produced in these wonderful experiences has helped me to, for example, use the Machinevo to warm up and get students talking about something different. They had produced tutorials, games. They have produced. We can produce and use Machinimas to give lesson instructions, to work on vocabulary and pronunciation, and to review grammar, to inspire role-playing, storytelling. There are many great fairy tales, stories, and based on classic literature, mysteries, and there's also projects with poetry. Also, to spark discussion, we get some societal Machinimas on society problems. But I think the most important and the one that I had the chance to participate in Machinevo is use projects. And when you use a class project with Machinevo, students learn in a meaningful way, not only the target language, but also they get digital skills and they expand their digital literacies as they improve their reading, listening, speaking, writing. Also, collaborating, connecting, sharing, inquiring, socializing, and producing. These things that they produce later can be used or reused by new generations of students, and that's how these Machinevo sessions have been so successful, because what has been produced by the previous groups has been increased and is much better in the next generation. I think with that I close my my part of this panel discussion, and I want to share some links for you to find ways on how to use Machinivas into the classes. And thank you very much. Well,
okay, thank you so much, Doris. I read some comments in the chat from Cyber, and I think, yeah, Cyber added to what you said, Doris, saying that Machinevo is to tailor-make your own content, and I mean that's the machinima, and I think that's a very important factor, as it is often we are often asked, why produce machinima when there are brilliant films on the market. But I think the point is that we can just very quickly make a machinima fairly quickly with fairly low costs for a situation we need in the classroom. So they're kind of tailor-made and ready there, if you agree with me. Would you agree with me, Doris?
Absolutely, absolutely. That's why it's so, you're free to create your own stories. And on a purpose, so you design what you want to do. At first, you had to think of what is the Machinevo for, and what my students are going to get from this. How am I going to use it in class? And then, the rest is using the digital skills to record and storyboarding and all those wonderful things that you learned in the Machinevo. So everybody's invited to join us for the next edition. Besitos.
Okay, Heike, you said somebody's losing her voice. Is it me? Can you hear? Can you hear me still? Because I'm used that I'm losing my voice here in the internet, so okay, I'm fine. Thank you, Carol. So I would like to continue with Raymond. Raymond Ben, I'm sorry, I only know and maybe you have one identity in both lives. Raymond is CEO of the Vwbpe project, the Worldwide Education and Virtual Education Worlds project. And Vwbpe is a startup company for expanding the use of virtual worlds in both academic and industrial areas. And Raymond Ben is a retired instructor from a national chain of colleges in the US and has extensive experience in industry as well. From consulting in federally funded manufacturing programs via NIST to private industry. And the use of Machinevo will be a major aspect of the Vwbpe's experience as it develops. And that sounds really, really interesting. I mean, Raymond has been a participant on the last Machinevo 2014. And that is really an interesting statement you made, Raymond. Would you like to tell us a bit more about that and tell us about why you came to join this Machinevo 2014 and what interests you in Machinevo?
I would be happy to, Letty. Thank you very much for such a kind introduction, by the way. Normally at a seminar in real life, this is the part where I tell everybody to stand up and shake it off because you've been sitting for so long, but I'm going to assume your avatars aren't so stiff, so we probably won't have to do that. My name is Raymond Benny, both in real life and here. I've been about 7 years in Second Life, and not in this avatar, however. Yeah, go ahead, get up and shake a little bit. It's good for you. Some time back, I was talking with a good friend of mine in Second Life who is in the audience here, Ardna Beaumont. I never say that name right. I hope she forgives me. About education in Second Life. Now, I didn't know much about it except the fact that it would obviously be a good fit. I didn't know what was already going on. The more we talked, the more I learned and found it fascinating what could be done. At the same time, I was learning more and more about OpenSim. And the costs here in Second Life, even with the half price and what have you, does hold back a lot of educators, I believe. And that kind of gave birth to the Vwbpe project. What we started out to do was find a way to provide sims using OpenSim for educators free of charge, where they can do pretty much anything they wanted to. We would provide them for them by doing our own hosting, probably through the OS Grid as a tie-in to that, and give them ways to do things. Now, in our discussion, she started talking about Machinevo. Of course, we were typing at the time, so for the first 3 weeks, I think I was still calling it Machinevo, not knowing what it was, and Machinevo. I attended the classes knowing absolutely nothing about it. Like, yeah, kind of like Macarena. Why did I attend? She dragged me there. I didn't really understand it or know what I was getting into, and I think that's important for a lot of people in this audience because many of you don't know either. Not that sure how it's done. What does one have to go through? What software is required? How much talent does it really take? Well, I showed up on my first day, and a whole bunch of people were there, big crowd, and they wanted to divide into groups using various subject headers, and one of them was telling a joke. So I decided I'll go there because I know what a joke is. Happily for me, Heike was the administrator, I don't know what else to call it, or the guide in that group, and as good as she is, she was able to help us a great deal in putting it together. We discussed for a while, use a blind guide, yes. We discussed for a while what joke to use. It was finally decided on one in particular, and a video was created called Mr. Magic, and we could share it at this time, and I'll go into some other details afterwards. Let me get that first. So if you all take a look at this one, it's a short one, fortunately, only 3 minutes long. So if you take a look at that, and we can go back to discussing afterwards.
Okay, genius. Where's the ship?
Well, a diamond is a ship, me boys, for the Davy Strait she's bound, and the quay it is all garnished with bonny lassies all around. Captain Thompson gives the order to sail the ocean wide, where the sunshine never sets, me boys, no darkness dims the skies.
Well, as you see, Machinima does not have to be serious. It was a lot of fun making. Now, as the rookie in the group, I had no idea what to do. I had no idea how to film, except some very basic ideas. So I volunteered to be the actor. That's why I was Mr. Magic, and in all the scenes, because that way I didn't have to film. I was able to get out of it. And you can find that if you come to this group next time it's offered, you can do the same thing. But while I was there, I paid attention and listened to what was being said and what was being done, the problems that were having, people were having. All the raw footage was shared before it was edited into a film, so I started learning about that. A while later, several presentations were made, including how to do green screens or blue screens or orange screens or whatever you want to call them. Had some fun playing with that. Started trying to figure this all out. They kept talking about Camtasia. I ended up actually owning a copy, which I have since used to make a couple of my own, a couple of machinimas of my own. and it was a blast doing it. You can learn a lot doing it. I'm going to share one more because it's only 7 seconds. When Hazel Dazel gave a little presentation on the blue screen thing, I had to play with it just to see what it was. And let me share that real quick. Like I said, it's only 7 seconds. And give you an idea of what a rookie can do after just showing up for 5 weeks. Now, as I said, this is a dead rookie. I did lots of things wrong. The lighting is terrible, but it doesn't matter because I've learned doing it. And I'll continue to do these things over and over again until I get it right. I've come to the conclusion that Machinima is like playing Go or so many other games. You could learn how to do it in minutes. Take the rest of your life trying to master it. And this group can really help you do that. Now, my education director, Adina, here for the Weave Worlds project, and I are going forward. We already have 4 sims in OpenSim that we have up and running for prototyping, and we're doing quite a few projects. You're going to hear a lot more about that later, and definitely a lot more next year at this conference, because we hope to present at that point. And part of that will be Machinima, because we have come to the conclusion that's going to be a very large part of what we're doing. Any questions? Sadly, I don't have gang sign.
Well, it would be great to see your progress on your Sims, and maybe we can join you there and help you, because for Machinima you always need actors, so you've got a lot of actors around here.
Absolutely. Okay, Letty, thank you very much, and back to you.
Thank you, Raymond. I have got actually Alfonso on my list. Alfonso is not able to join, but he sent Juana in Second Life, Juana Ruiz Moreno. I'm sorry if I misspelled your name or mispronounced your name, sorry. And she is an educator and e-learning expert and member of Slates, that is part of the Learning with the Gomez Family project. And she's here on behalf of Alfonso, as I said, who was a co-moderator of Machinevo 2014, and Alfonso Perfele is has a BA in education with focus on foreign languages, EFL. And he's a Slates facilitator at the University Network in Innovation Docentic program, and certified machinimatographer by the University of Valencia, Virtual TV Magazine, VTM and Virtual TV Media Director. And he's also an English teacher for Hispanic people. And I think, Tuanjana, you have prepared a small video which you would like to share from Alfonso. Is that right?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I am here on behalf of Alfonso Perfele because he is not able to come with us today, but he wanted to share with you as a moderator of Machinevo 2014. He asked me to show you a short machinima that we recorded last night for you to see. Well, I am going to share the link of the video of the intervention of Alfonso Perfele in local chat, but also, if you want to use the screen that you can see at the end, you only have to activate your media and click on the play button, and you will I hope, you can listen and watch the intervention. And also, we have prepared a gift from the Learning with the Gomez Family project that you can take if you click on the picture below the screen, okay?
On behalf of the members of the project Learning with the Gomez family, and as a co-moderator of Machinevo 2014, we appreciate the opportunity to share with all of you something that I call an awesome experience. Aprendiendo con la Familia Gómez was launched in 2012 as part of activities created that year. Since then, we have been a strong and solid team, something that you just find in virtual worlds at Second Life, and with professional people that work seriously to improve distant education using the enormous possibilities that these environments provide us as educators. Machinima is an important part of the educational process we use. Machinima is the acronym of the English words machine, animation, and cinema. Since the beginning, we have learned a lot and keep continuously learning about this technique. Our team is Inés Rodríguez Gómez, Inés de Glione, Juanis Ruiz, Tuajana, María Sol Cordobés, Lozairan, and me, Alfonso Garavito Olivar, Alfonso Perfele. Also, we have the collaboration of Heikki Phillips, Wayne Wasi, who plays the role of the foreign exchange student, Bettina. Inés and I were certified as Machinimatographers from the course Machinima for Educators of the Valencia University in 2011. We used this knowledge and kept growing our skills and have presented in different educational events. Using this technique, we have produced a total of 16 episodes so far. Aprendiendo con la Familia Gómez is a project for teaching Spanish as a foreign language through audio-visual digital books. As you can see, being part of a workshop like Machinevo provides a learning opportunity where you can make solid connection for serious educational projects. We encourage you to learn more about Machinima and other tools in virtual worlds. So Hannah will provide you with a note card that has the 2 links from her very first Machinima and her most recent one where you can see the progress she has made as a Machinimatographer. Thank you for watching us.
Thank you for sharing this. That was really impressive, and also it was a good example of how to make a good machinima as well. So thank you to Hannah. Yes, I think we could stop here. We got a first impression, and I thought, of course, it's worth watching them, those films.